Hello everyone, it's Fred again from Notes of a Nomad, video number 306. It's almost 6 years, another six videos, and it'll be 6 years since I started doing these videos. And it's the end of 2025, and in a few days, it's the beginning of 2026. So I want to talk about the windup and the pitch. Now, when I was young, I used to play Little League Baseball, and I was learning how to be a pitcher. So you used to wind up before you pitched, and then you pitched the ball. So the wind up today is winding up what happened in 2025, and the ball, pitching the ball is where do we think is going to happen in 2026? So that's the topic today. So let's start with the wind up, and I share my screen where I have some videos or some pictures, including this video of Mollymook, where I spent Christmas last year in Australia. Weather's a little bit different. As you can see, it's summer. There's people in the ocean. There's surfers. And this was from the upstairs of where we were staying for the approximate week. It was a beautiful spot. What a lovely place. And there was family and friends that we shared the time with. So that was this sort of just over a year ago. And then in January, I ended up in hospital with deep vein thrombosis or a blood clot in my leg. Unexpected. And I went on blood thinners and have been on blood thinners ever since uh, to try and prevent future thrombosis, which actually didn't happen. I had a second one, which I might discuss briefly what's going on here. So what also happened was I then went to California and spent a few months there. Um, as it shows, this is when Donald Trump started with his tariffs and so on. And that's been a very interesting exercise, what's happening. And also we had a um, election, and Mark Carney, who was uh, previously a banker for the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, is now our prime minister. And he doesn't seem to be a normal politician, but he is definitely a leader from what I can see. He's a good listener. He's like the adult in the room. He doesn't panic. He sort of has a calm authority about him and a level of competence, which is looking good for Canada. And let's see what happens next year because he's putting sort of down the platforms that might make a big positive change here. While I was in California, I was visited by Ravi Bhattarai, a good friend of mine, who hosted me for 3 months when I was in Nepal. Now he's currently, I believe, still in United States, but he came and visited me in California. We ended up in this museum. It was a army museum, and of course, there's Ravi with the looking as if he was in the U.S. Army driving a Jeep in that museum. So that was an interesting time I spent with him. And then also, while I was there, I just before I came back, I saw the Great All-American Youth Circus, where my grandchildren are in, and my daughter and my son-in-law helps out. And that's been around since 1929, almost 100 years. Quite a, it's amazing to watch. I did a video of that as well. And then I came back and ended up back in Victoria on Vancouver Island here. So this is where Victoria is. It's about an hour and 40 minutes from the ferry ride from just near Victoria over to Tsawwassen near Vancouver. And there's a picture of one of the ferries where it's sort of got restaurants and etc. on it, shops, and of course all the cars and the people on. So I did a couple trips across, spent some time with my friend Ken on his boat, which I did a video, and ended up in the end of August. I went to Newcastle upon Tyne. This is a picture of St. James Place, I believe it is. It's this big stadium in Newcastle upon Tyne for the Newcastle United football team. It's too small. It only holds about 55,000 people, and it's sold out. You cannot get tickets for it. Just unbelievable. And they've got to do something about trying to maybe build a new stadium. Anyway, it's under discussion. But that was a wonderful trip. And then, of course, I did mention about Mark Carney, and it's been interesting to watch while I'm here. Now, whilst I am here, I had another thrombosis, and it's very wise, I think, that I made the decision that after 8 years of not having a permanent residence, I rented a place and thought maybe I shouldn't travel for long periods of time. If I had traveled, I probably would have had another thrombosis and I probably would have been in Australia. So it's good that I'm stayed this year. Now, what's going to be happening in the future, the pitch, where's the ball going to land? Well, I'm hopeful because, for example, I've mentioned more than once, Canada's a very large country that has 10 provinces and 3 territories. And one thing Mark Carney has seemed to do is get all of the premiers of the provinces and the leaders of the territories together and discuss what we're going to do to make Canada a viable um, country. And there's some really interesting issues, items that have been going on. We've been attracting people from around the world. Like we opened our doors for scientists to come and researchers, and we're looking for, more doctors and so on. And it seems we are attracting some of those people to come to Canada. So it's going to be fascinating in 2026 not only to see what happens in Canada, but the world's geopolitics, with the war in Ukraine. Is that going to be finally finished? Who knows? But that's why, with artificial intelligence on the horizon, a lot of investments, enormous investments from different countries and different companies doing, and even in Canada, there's some big investments happening where artificial intelligence, how is that going to impact us? So I'm looking forward to seeing where the ball is being pitched. Where's it going to land? What's going to happen in 2026? So with that, I will say adios, au revoir, wishing you, your family, and friends lots of love and laughter. And hopefully 2026 is very good for you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be in the first one of 2026. So au revoir, adios, bye for now. Until next time, from Fred and Notes of a Nomad.